Alright guys, welcome to another video. This one's going to be a toolbox tour. Everything that I've got in my toolbox that I'm actually taking with me to Utah to my new job. I am a full-time fabricator welder on resto mods, classic cars, you name it, anything custom, that's what I do. But I also do a lot of mechanical work on, say, my cars, friends' cars, you know, whatever the case. So I've got a pretty good setup here. I've got just about everything you would need to be successful as a mechanic, fabricator, welder, everything. So we're gonna go ahead and go over it and I'll show you what we got. So first thing is the box itself. This is a little bit downsized. I've actually downsized a little bit as to what my last box was. I personally like having the workspace on top, first of all, and so that's why I got this. And then second of all, I like it being a lower level box rather than what I had before was like a really tall, like 2-tier box, and you can't really work as efficiently out of those, I've found. So if you're looking at getting a first box, I would definitely look into this. This is a really cheap option. It was at Home Depot for like $3.99, I think. Super cheap. I do need something a little bit bigger, honestly, but this works. So we are pretty tight, and I'll show you just how jam-packed this whole thing is, but I do have a lot of extra things that you technically wouldn't need. So let's get right into it. So first drawer, I've got all my sockets. I've got 1/2 inch, 3/8, and 1/4 sockets of both metric and standard. I do need to go and get the rest of them because I am missing a bunch. So I actually got to go do that today. And then I've got a 1/4 inch torque wrench. That's an inch-pound one. 1/4 inch ratchet, 3/8 ratchet, 1/2 inch ratchet, all 90 teeth. These are just Craftsman. All of this is just Craftsman because that's what I got early on, and I've just had it. I haven't taken the time to be like, oh, I want to get Snap-on or I want to get this. These work. They're warranted at Lowe's. You know, it's whatever. I've got a little 1/2 inch breaker bar. It's not big, but it works. And then I've got, let's see what else I got in here sockets wise. I've got like spark plug gap or spark plug socket. I've got, this is the lug nut key for my truck. This is the lug nut key for my race car. All of my extensions, I've got like 2 little magnets in here because those are helpful. And then a couple different drive bits, like this is for like a 3/8 steel. I've got like, I don't know, there's just things that I have. I've got 2 in here at the same size actually that I should just consolidate. I'm building a race trailer box as well for, so that's all my old tools going into that. I've got Milwaukee picks in here. Yeah, I mean, you can get any picks you want, but I choose Milwaukee. I've got my safety glasses and my mechanics gloves. I use those for everything, welding, fabricating, cutting, welding, like everything, mechanic work, everything. So very comfy, somewhat cheap. You do go through them, but they're not too bad. 2 measuring tapes. I've got this long grabber tool. Some of these things I would rather have in other drawers, but I just don't have enough space in this box, and you're about to see why. So let's start on the left side. We've got all of my wrenches. All of these are ratcheting wrenches. So these are all my standard, these are all my metric. I've got a couple, what are these called? Crow's feet. I've got 2 fully adjustable like crescent wrenches. This is a 10-inch one, that's a 12-inch one. And then these are my coilover wrenches, spanner wrenches, forgetting what they're called. I got this Allen wrench set. I like these a lot because they got a ball end on them and they're very long, which is nice. Got standard and metric on those as well. So that's it for that drawer. These are very shallow, so the top drawer is the most shallow, and then you got 2 of these 2 middle ones are the same size, and then you got a deep drawer, same on both sides. So other top drawer, this is my screwdrivers. So these are all Snap-on. I just got this set not that long ago, that's why they're super clean. And then these, really stoked on, just got these as well. These are indexable pry bars. So you can push the button in, flick them wherever you want them, so you can pry at any angle. 3 different sizes. They are pretty pricey. These are also Snap-on. but they do have a lifetime warranty. I figured these would probably break a lot right here. The guy said they've only warranted 2 in the last little, like the 2 that they've sold like 10 sets, and they've only had its warranty 2 in the last couple of years, so not bad. And they're just a free warranty, so worth it. This is where we start running into issues of running out of space. This is my electrical, and I've got drill bits and step bits, and there's like a center punch tool in here as well. So I would like to have these in a different drawer, obviously, but this is what we're working with. I've got some rosin, I've got my solder, 2 different sizes, and I've got a couple rolls of tape, another roll of tape, a couple different connecting deals. I got some fuses, I got some like a battery terminal connector, some bigger gauge stuff, just basic stuff that you don't necessarily always need, but I did electrical work for a year, and that's what I found I most needed. So there's that. Other drawer right next to it. This one we've got all of my pliers and such. So snap-on dikes, snap-on. These are probably the nicest, like easily the nicest needle nose pliers that I've ever even seen, let alone own. They are indexable as well, so you can change the width at which they grab, and then they've got really nice teeth all in them. They're just nice. I've had a couple different kinds, and these are really nice. These are cobalt. They work good, you know, they're fine. I might end up getting snap-on versions of all of these eventually, but right now these are what I cared about getting because I will be using those probably the most. This is my just electrical deal. I got those in my last job, so they've seen a lot of hours of work. A couple of ice grips. These are very cool. I'll show you those in a second. This is a snap-on a panel deal. What is it called? Interior trim panel thing. I don't know. Trim remover tool. And I've got a little plastic set from Harbor Freight as well that I somewhat use often, but this is kind of my go-to. So, and then this is an oil filter wrench because my last RX-7, the rotary car that I had, was just, the location of it was terrible. So unless you had like the K&N filter with the 1-inch socket little deal on top, I needed to use that. So, okay, let me show you what these are. Aside from a grinder, this is my most used tool as a fabricator. I use these all the time. So these are called Clecos. They're 1/8 inch Clecos. So this is the little tool that comes with it. As you can see, there's a pocket where the silver part sits, and then there's this little I almost said C-section, that's not the right word. Whatever you want to call that, open groove section. And that's gonna grab on the bottom side of this. And then the top is gonna push that as you close your hand. So a quick little demonstration here. You would grab these, slide it in, and then when you squeeze the handle, it's gonna actually push that out. You would slide it into a hole, and then basically you'd be grabbing it's a temporary rivet. So on this car, we've got the entire rear end cut off because we've got a fiberglass rear end for it. So I can't really get it out and show you without moving the whole car. It's a whole debacle, so I'm not gonna do it. But these are fiberglass. As you can see, this little 1/8 inch hole in it. That would line up with the 1/8 inch holes in this. So what you would do, put this, you would squeeze it, put it through the fiberglass, put it through there, release it, and it stays. It is in there. So literally like 2 of these will hold up to like 400 pounds. Now this is only 6 pounds, but you get the idea. So then when you want to take the panel off, like right now I have it off, all I had to do was just grab it, release it. You can even see it with this. It's kind of doing it with this. See that inner structure. All you gotta do, 1/8 hole, and a 1/8 inch hole is really easy to fill. And it's also, you're not gonna have any hardware that's smaller than that. So Clecos, 100% my favorite tool that I use. I use them all the time. This set was only $50 on Amazon. Comes with a nice like soft grip handle on the tool. Comes with a nice bag. I will admit the bags like always rip right here. I've got 2 other sets of these, and both of them ripped. This one's not ripped, so taking this one with me to Utah. But yeah, these are the best thing ever. All right, second most used drawer. This has got my levels in it. It's got a ruler and a straight or a square tool in it that uses that same ruler. I've got another square, and then I've got all my hammers. So I've got a dead blow, or like a rubber mallet. I've got a dead blow. This heavy hammer that I don't really use much. Got this other. These are all new, by the way. I had to buy a lot of new tools for this new job, so they look very clean. I promise I work hard. Another one. These are pretty cool. I got these not too long ago. I've used them a few times. It's to grab and bend sheet metal. So here at the house, my home shop, we don't have like a brake. We don't have a finger brake or anything like that. So we've had to get crafty with bending metal here, and so those are pretty cool tools. Let's see. I've got this. I can't remember what it's called, but you put it in the tool and a deburr tool. Yeah, so you deburr holes with that. Got a couple different like gap tools. These are feeler gauges, also feeler gauges. This kind of shows you the thickness of metal that you're working with. This shows you the opening in a hole, like the size of a hole, so you can drop that down in there. It's not necessary. I would say that the only things necessary in this are a couple hammers, your levels, and a square. Next drawer. This is a lot of consumables. So I've got a lot of pads in here. These are my DA pads for my 5-inch Milwaukee DA that you'll see later. I've got a little 3-inch and a 2-inch DA, 90-degree DA, with a couple pads in here as well. I've got some flapper discs for my grinder and some cutoff wheels for my grinder. And then I've got the tool to loosen those, even though I never use it, just in case though. Bunch of punch and chisel set right here. This is pretty cheap, but it works really good. Brand new file set that I got from Gear Wrench. Gear Wrench is pretty much my other go-to. And then I've got this air blower from Snap-on, pretty basic stuff. Yeah, so I would like to put my drill bits and stuff in there, but I don't have room. This is the other reason I don't have room. These 2 bottom drawers are full, packed out completely, and I've still got more Milwaukee stuff in there. So fully packed out, not ideal. But just real quick, Milwaukee, I've got a 1/2-inch impact. I've also got my grinder in here, so that takes up space, and my heat gun. I've got a drill. I've got a 90-degree dry grinder that has this attachment on it right now. I've got a full straight die grinder. I've got the 3/8 electric ratchet, and then I've got a solder iron. I said the drill already. I've got a full 1/2-inch impact socket set in there, and then I've also got my DA sander right there. So that's that. All of those are great. You don't need all of them, but they're very helpful. I use them all the time. This is the other one that's really packed. So I've got my torch. Don't really need that at this new job, but I have it, so I'm taking it. A giant Snap-on pry bar, just a straight one, doesn't index, so I wanted a big one, strong one. So anyways, PPE stuff, don't really need that. This is my multimeter, so I have that. I would like to have it in the electrical thing, but I don't have room for it. Battery tender, don't technically need that at this job, but whatever. 1/2-inch, why am I blanking on this? Because I never use it. 1/2-inch torque wrench, yes. 1/2-inch torque wrench, basic, it's cheap, it works. So this is my entire set of Gear Wrench, torque bits, Allen bits, everything you can think of. That's all in here. So that's a very big set, but I'm gonna be using a lot of them, and it's good to have them all, there. So anyways, 2 pairs of welding gloves. Like I said, I usually wear my mechanics gloves, but I think this new job is gonna want me to wear proper stuff, so taking them with me. And then my hammer and dolly set. So this is also pretty new. I never really used one of these, but gotta do what you gotta do, So these body hammers are super nice. I love where the weight's at. So if you're looking for a hammer and dolly set that's not gonna break the bank, this is honestly, I would definitely recommend this. It's very nice. It's in a case. The weight to the hammers is all evenly placed really well. So I'm a big fan of those. And then I got my welding helmet. It's just a West Air one. Probably upgrade that soon to a nicer Lincoln D30 3350. I didn't mention, but this there's sockets on here and USBs for the toolbox, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, I mean that's about it. Everything that I just mentioned right now, you can get away with not having some of it. But I would say that most of what I have in this box, I will be using on my day-to-day at work. And so if you're going to be getting into like heavy fabrication, if you're gonna be building a car like this, like I would invest in. Having tools is one thing, having cars is another thing. Tools are important. You can use them on anything all the time and they can make you money. Invest in good tools. The Craftsman stuff that I have in the top drawer, I'm not a huge fan of, but it works. I will be upgrading that eventually. But yeah, that's gonna be about it for this video. So thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you do, if you don't, you should. Do some cool stuff here. So see you on the next one.